UFC Paris is coming up in a couple weeks, and today, guys, I have the official betting guide for you with timestamps if you'd like to skip to any part of the video, along with some other promotions that we're going to be talking about as well. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. Before we get started with the confident picks, but again, if you want to skip over there, timestamps will be there if you'd like to skip. Let's get into the channel betting recap for today, and we didn't quite get a clean sweep, but we still did have a very good time with the bet. Guys, the fun parlay. If you are brand new to the channel, guys, I throw $5 at a more entertainment value parlay, which makes it more enjoyable to watch. I like having a parlay there. And Min Yang Zhang, of all people, lost it. He lost to Johnny Walker. I'm like, come on. I thought that one was a lock. But anyways, we did have 3 official plays. I wanted to keep things small because I wasn't feeling the card all that much, but we had one single bet at excellent value for Charles Johnson to win. He did a great job. I thought that Loner Kavanaugh was getting a little bit too high level too soon, and it kind of showed to do that. Now, the one that surprised me a little bit was Kevin Borjas, and I know that it was a little bit of an unpopular opinion. I ended up throwing 0.15 units on it. Again, kept things insanely small because I was not, like, ultra confident in the card, but I thought that he was a better striker than we saw, and it disappointed me just a little bit. But regardless, we were still way up, which was nice. Charles Johnson having the underdog money and Sergey Pavlovich, I was much more confident in. But again, the reason why I kept that one small was because Waldo Cortez Acosta just kept winning. And I was like, oh, Sergey should beat him though. But we did have another very good week. We didn't get to clean sweep it, but hey, we got the job done, guys. If you would like to either support the channel or see exactly what bets that I'm going to be making each week, then you can check out in the channel membership in the pinned comment description down below, or right next to the subscribe button every single Friday or Saturday morning, depending on whether or not I'd like to bet on any Friday fights. I'll be posting a community members post right here, along with a members only video describing exactly what I'm doing with my money. So again, if you did like to support the channel or just want to see what I'm betting on, combine my fight knowledge with your own research, the channel membership is very cheap compared to other channels. Additionally, a tool that we use, OddsGem, you can get a discount, pinned comment description down below using code Clenbat, my link, you can get a discount signing up to there. With that being said, guys, let's get into the betting guide for today. Let's start off with the confident picks on the card. We'll start off with some UFC picks over here. So the first confident pick I have for you is going to be Sam Patterson. I more so just like the role that he's been on. He's a big guy for the division. I know that he's taking on another big guy for the division, but Sam Patterson, a lot of people were calling him, a fraud coming into or not coming into the UFC, but after he took his first loss, everybody was calling him a fraud. He came back. He bounced back with 3 really nice performances. I think that he's going to keep that momentum against Trey Waters, and I think that he's just going to be slightly technically better. I like Sam Patterson this matchup. Not for betting. I was considering throwing him in a fun parlay, but we'll end up seeing what we're going to be doing over here. And guys, also, if you happen to be new to the channel as well, we have a full card breakdown video already diving into these fights as deep as we could possibly get. These are just the recaps for some of the fights that I've been feeling, okay? Let's continue on for the next confident pick. It's going to be William Gomez. If you guys happen to be following the channel, you might know that I am very high on William Gomez. I think that he beat some excellent fighters. The loss to Hyder Ammo, it was one that I didn't see coming, to be honest with you. But hey, sometimes guys have your numbers. The pressure ended up getting into him. It was just like one of those weird losses. But I don't want to take that loss and discredit the fighter that I think that William Gomez is, because I think he had some excellent performances. He is a good fighter in his prime. He's beat some great guys. And against Robert Rucella coming into the UFC, man, he's one of those guys where there is potential. There is potential there, but I think that he's getting thrown to an absolute dog in the UFC right now against William Gomez. I think he would need a lower quality opponent to find success, and I think that William Gomez is going to be more experienced right now, and I think that he's flat out going to be better. Let's continue on to the next confident pick over here. Now, I will say, out of all of my confident picks, this is my least confident pick, okay? It's going to be Mauricio Rufy. It's more so because Benoit Saint-Denis, we've seen the way that he can unfortunately get brutalized now. He has a recent win, and it was basically a free win handed to him. Mauricio Rufy has been on an absolute roll. The Fighting Nerds have been on an absolute roll. I have no idea what they're doing over at that gym, but their fighters have been improving at a rate, and they've been just destroying everybody in their path. I kind of think that Benoit Saint-Denis might just be that next guy that Mauricio Rufy ends up like flatlining. But again, out of all of the confident picks, this is my least confident pick, okay? Mauricio Rufy should probably win this fight. Let's continue on over to the next confident pick. Now, the next confident pick I have for you guys is going to be on week 4 of the Contender series over on September 2nd, so we still have a little bit to go with that, and it's going to be Samuel Silva. Guys, if you want to talk about a guy who has the heart of a champion, it is Samuel Silva. This dude is an animal. Is he the best fighter in the world? No, but he has really good technique. He's in his prime. He's on a really nice win streak. I've watched it. The only thing that I need to admit this to you guys because I'm always want to be honest on the channel. I have not watched his most recent performance because I was watching him in the LFA and a little bit prior to that because I was interested in, after watching him in the LFA, I was interested in, in the fighter that he is because he had some really fun performances. The only fight that I haven't seen, which he ended up getting a decision win, I just can't comment if there's anything new to note with Samuel Silva. But from the fighter that I've seen, this dude is technically sound, and he has one of the best hearts that I have ever seen in a fighter. He wants to come in and he wants to win, and I guarantee you that no matter what happens in this bout, guys, he is going to do everything in his ability to get signed to the UFC. I like him in this matchup, and he's taking on Mandel Nalo, who, while he is on a win streak as well, it's of nothing of significance, and let's be honest over here, I can say this, I'm Canadian. We don't exactly produce the greatest fighters in the world, okay? So I do like Samuel Silva in this matchup. I think that he's going to perform. I expect him to perform. That's a bet that I'm considering making myself. And for this next confident pick, guys, we're going to go over to LFA 216, and it's going to be, and I apologize, I haven't said her name enough times to properly pronounce it, but it's going to be Isa Bertoloso. Excuse me. You know, I always feel bad when I talk about these fights and I mispronounce fighters' names or have issues pronouncing their names because it sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I've watched both of these girls perform multiple times, okay? And Aiza is one of those fighters in the LFA or just in WMMA in general right now who has like that next level ground game. When the fight gets to the ground, she seems to be the complete package. And so far, she hasn't had a problem getting fighters to the ground. And she's taken on Lanny Silva, who I would describe as a fighter who is just slightly better than your average WMMA fighter. So the reason why I'm confident in Aiza is because you have somebody who I've looked at and I've watched fight and I go, you know what? That's actually pretty impressive skill against somebody who it's like, oh yeah, you're okay. It's two decent girl fighters, but the problem is neither of them have fought anybody of significance. They fought some like okay competition for the LFA. It's just for this matchup here, I don't see any reason why Aiza won't take Lanny Silva to the ground and just work the way that she did. But last time, or maybe not last time, in one of her recent performances, she was a minus 2,000 favorite. So I don't know what it's going to look like this time around, but I do think that she's going to get the job done in this fight. Let's continue on over to actually ONE Championship. Now, this one comes with a little bit of an asterisk, so hear me out, okay? We have Adrian Lee taking on Tairu Otolo. All right. So Tairu Otolo is making his MMA debut. If you guys aren't familiar with what ONE Championship is doing over there, and I don't know if you guys want this kind of logic coming to the betting guide, but hear me out, okay? The Ruotolo brothers, Cade and Ty Ruotolo, are two of ONE Championship's kind of biggest stars right now, especially when it comes to the grappling game. Cade Ruotolo entered MMA. He got a subpar opponent, I will say, and ONE Championship kind of made it easy to make a big spectacle about his MMA debut and for him to get the win. I would imagine they're doing the same thing over to Tairu Otolo. I understand that Adrian Lee has looked good for what he is so far, but he's 19 years old. Tairu Otolo will absolutely be able to ragdoll him if the fight ever hits the ground. I think that ONE Championship is going to do whatever they can to have Tairu Otolo win the fight, so that's my logic when it comes to this matchup. You always have to worry when somebody's making their MMA debut, and honestly, I expect him to be ready. I expect him to perform well because his jiu-jitsu is next level. And his brother Cade did an excellent job transitioning that jiu-jitsu skill into MMA and mixing up the striking just a little bit, okay? So if Ty shows up the same, I think he's going to get the job done. Plus, you have ONE Championship really, really wanting these guys to win. They got to know something we don't. So Tairu Otolo, another confident pick of mine. Let's continue on over to ONE Championship. Again, in the next confident pick is going to be Bampara Kayute. Now, Shadow is a pretty good fighter, but I don't know what to say about this fight, guys. I've watched both of these guys in their Muay Thai bouts, and I've been much more impressed with Bampara, and I think that they're going to, obviously it's a Muay Thai bout, they're going to stand up, and they're going to scrap. They're both going to look good, but I think that Bampara is just better. It's one of those fights where I don't know what else to say besides I think he's going to be a better fighter. Now, it's a little bit weird whether or not you're going to get a line for this one, so just keep that in mind. Let's see if there's any good value or something like that, but with the confident picks being finished, let's continue on over to some underdog opportunities. These are not fights that I'm going to be betting on. These are not necessarily even picks of mine. These are just underdogs that I think are good for their value, and I could very well see them winning. The first one's going to be Lozian Kieta. Now, he's been looking good over at Octagon, okay? He seems to have the complete package, but of course, we need to see how he performs against top talent for to really sit down and say anything. I expect him to come in and have a decent performance. I just, it's tough, guys, because I hate disrespecting the Bellator guys like this because Pitbull was a good fighter and people don't recognize that now. But Pitbull has not looked good coming into the UFC. He is not nearly the same as the fighter that he once was. He's a lot more inactive, and it wouldn't shock me if he just gets pieced up a little bit over here. I'm just saying, it wouldn't shock me. And you have Pitbull, who's aging too. Luzian Kieta coming into the UFC. It's a big signing by the UFC. He's not even in his prime yet. I don't mind him in this matchup at all if you're looking for some underdog money. And finally, the next underdog opportunity that we have over here is going to be Shauna Bannon. She's more technically sound than Sam Hughes, and she is slightly compared to Sam Hughes, she's much more marketable, but you get where I was going over there. Just it wouldn't shock me if they ended up giving her the decision. That's all. She's a good underdog for this fight, okay? Sam Hughes is 10-6. Shauna Bannon hasn't really been all that impressive either, don't get me wrong. It's just, again, I wouldn't be shocked if she ended up getting this fight. But let's continue on over to some fights that I believe you should not be betting on, okay? The first one's going to be Renat Fakardinov and Andreas Gustafsson. I just expect this to be a back-and-forth fight. I'm not sure who's going to win the fight. I think both of them have promising careers. I think that both of them are actually a little bit underrated in my opinion. Don't know what's going to happen in this one. I'm going to be staying away from that one personally. And this is tough, okay? Because I'm very tempted to bet on this one, and I almost threw this into the underdog opportunity part. Because Calvi Fernandez, I have a little bit of a gut feeling on over here. But for ACM, Calvi Fernandez, I believe the right thing to do, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, I might go against my own gut over here because I think Calvi has excellent value right now. And again, I almost threw him an underdog opportunity. With the rate that both of these guys are improving at, with the win streaks that they've been on, and I know Calvi's had a little bit of a hiccup, but both guys have been looking insanely good against some pretty good opponents too. I don't think there's a way that you should be able to predict this fight. Both guys can actually end the fight in any way. It's just one of those matches against two tough guys in their prime. I cannot wait to watch this fight personally. I think it's difficult to predict. So for AZM, Calvi Fernandez, I believe we should be staying away from. And finally, one more fight after this, but Nasruddin Imavov, Kyle Braujo. Two top contenders, two fighters looking to be champions, two guys that have spectacular records and have been looking insane in all of their fights. The odds are near even. I agree with that. This fight is also ridiculously tough to call. The only thing that I do like is depending on what ends up coming out about a round line, because when you have two guys that are this good at the top of the division, I really like 1.5 rounds at this, okay? Let's continue on over to the next fight that I believe you should not be betting on. We're going to circle over to Dana White's Contender Series again. And honestly, guys, I feel bad talking about some of these because there's been a couple times now where I've said, hey, these are two really good prospects. You probably shouldn't be betting on it. It's a little bit difficult to call, but I do feel that way about this fight again. I've seen both of these guys perform multiple times, and I believe both of them are promising fighters. I don't know what's going to happen in this fight, so I know that there's a big group of us that likes to bet on the Contender Series. This is one that I believe you should be staying away from. Now, out of everything that we've talked about, let's continue on over to Lock of the Week. The fighter on the card that I believe has the greatest chance of winning out of all of them is going to be Modestas Bukauskas. I like Paul Craig. I hope that I'm wrong because I like Paul Craig. Nothing against Modestas Bukauskas. I want to see Paul Craig get the job done. But I can't pick him in a fight. I can't. He's going back to up to 205-2 for this bout. I know he did for his last fight, but that got called off right away. Unless he throws up a Hail Mary submission, he can't win. And Modestas Bukauskas is also a really good fighter. What else are we supposed to say about that? Paul Craig is probably going to come in here, and Paul Craig is probably going to end up getting dummied. So my personal lock of the week is going to be Modestas Bukauskas, and he's already a decent-sized favorite. Now, let's continue on over to a little bit more of the unstructured part of the video. Let's see if there's any props that we could be talking about, if there's anything available, anything that sticks out to us. Let's go over to Odds Jam for this one over here. And of course, at the time of recording this video, we have the Dana White's Contender Series coming on, and that's the only thing going on this week, which is tough, man, which is tough. Oh, over 2.5 for Sam Hughes, up minus 400, which sucks. We have Brendan Ribeiro and Umar Syed over 2.5 at plus money. I don't trust that either. Yeah, Calvi Fernandez for AZM, that's too difficult to call. Oh, man, I don't mind Brad Tavares and Robert Bryzak going over 2.5. I actually really don't mind that one. Maybe that's like a fun parlay type thing. Under 2.5 at plus 148 for William Gomez. Don't exactly hate that. Yeah, Paul Craig is probably going under, to be honest with you. But again, no prompts really shining out to us right now. But let's continue on over to continuing on with the fun parlay section over here. This is, again, more of the unstructured part of the video. Let's see what we can make over here. Let's see what we can make. Sorry. There we go. We got it. So, I'm just going to pick some fights over here. We're going to pick Mason Jones, who I almost included him on my confident picks. I have a good feeling about him. Calvi Fernandez, we're going to pick Luzian Kieta. Ooh, that's a toughie. Ooh, that's a toughie. We're going to skip that one. We're going to pick Modestas Bukalkas. We're going to pick Umar Sy. We're going to pick Renat Fakhretdinov, Sam Patterson. Ooh, Sam Hughes, William Gomez, Mauricio Rufy, Kyle Baralho. And we're definitely taking off Cowie Fernandez. We're definitely taking off Renat Fakhretdinov. But that, you know what? I don't exactly hate that. But in MMA, a parlay like that is never in a million years going to work out. This sport is too crazy for something not to go wrong, okay? But if you guys are also new to the channel, my sister and I, every single week, we throw 10 cents on every single underdog. One time watching Bellator, we were almost millionaires. What do we get? Nothing for this card. A lot of close fights, guys. A lot of close fights, a lot of fun fights. So if you want to talk more about these fights, check out the full card breakdown. I'd love to have you over there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care, everybody.